This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today I will be welcoming back my good friend Loraine Shields, who I had on back in 21. You know, she was the kind, empathetic nurse that helps Chevy Chase in Fletch. I'm having her back on today to celebrate the 40th anniversary of El Norte, that hard-hitting film about the plight of Latinos that came out back in 1983. And I'm going to tell her some bawdy stories to go with it because she wants to hear them. And it's going to be a great conversation. I love talking to Loraine. She's a bundle of energy, and she's so sweet and fun and funny and entertaining. Oh my God, we lost Paul Reubens. Oh my God, did we really? Oh my, Pee-wee, the last bright of light in the golden era of Hollywood. How can this be? He was Hollywood history of the late 70s all the way through the 80s. You know, a true original. I got to meet him in 2019, spent 2.5 hours in line. I have a really bad leg from my car accident, but it was worth it, you know, to be in line for 2.5 hours. I remember just before it was my turn, he stood up after signing someone's autograph and said, "Hey, everybody, I know this is TMI, but I really have to go to the bathroom." And people were like, "Oh, come on, we've been waiting all this time." And he was like, "Okay, 10 more people." And then he goes to sit back down, and then it was my turn. And he was just so wonderful, just a great guy. It's sad we're losing so many icons of my childhood. I feel bad for my guests, Terry Bolo, Lynn Stewart, Tracy Newman, whose Facebook page I first found out about it a little while ago. All the original groundlings who were there with him from day one. It's just, it's like a bad dream today. Rest in peace, Pee-wee. Ride that bike into the sky. You were the luckiest boy in the world. So yeah, here is my new interview with Loraine Shields.
Hello.
Hey, Loraine, welcome back. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm a little sad because I found out about Paul Reubens dying. You know, he was a huge part of my
Oh no,
childhood.
that's really terrible. I didn't know he had suffering from cancer and battling it for they say over 5 years now. I had no idea. I'm very sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I had no idea either. I mean, when I met him in 2019, I mean, he looked healthy and he looked good. But wow, oh my God, that is a total mind blower. It's sad.
Yes. No, he was a renegade, a pioneer, a true artist, a very creative man. I wish I had known him. I know some people who did meet with him or work with him, and they said he was just a genius.
Yeah, he really, really was. So, how are things
Uh,
in this crazy world we are in?
Yeah, that's a good point, Tommy. Of course, I've kept my shoes off today and my socks, in hopes that that would help get the interview started. It is the heat, of course. It's a heat wave here, and I'm eager to speak with you again. I always enjoy speaking with you, and
Oh.
I am sad also, and I hope that you're gonna be okay. And what were your memories of the last time you met with him in 2019? How
Okay.
did he seem?
Oh yeah, so I was explaining during my intro that yeah, I was at Monster Palooza, the horror convention in LA in 2019, and I spent over 2 hours and 30 minutes in line with my mom, waiting to meet him, and I'm
Mm.
so glad my mom was with me too. And just before it was my turn, he stood up after the last person's autograph that he signed. He said, "I know this is too much information, but I really have to go to the bathroom." And people we're like, oh, come on, we've been waiting here all this time. And then he's like, okay, 10 more people. And then he sits back down, and then it was my turn. And he was such a sweet guy. I was talking to him about a mutual friend of ours and stuff, and he was very engaged and talking about her and stuff. And it was just so wonderful. And we talked to him maybe a good 10 minutes, I would say.
He sounds like an amazing man, and I'm glad you had the opportunity to meet him. That's a wonderful memory. I'm glad you have that.
Yeah, and it's sad that when COVID happened, he didn't get to do his anniversary tour of Pee Wee's Big Adventure. That he was going to go to all the theaters and do screenings and Q&As for them. But I guess it happened the way it was supposed to happen.
Yeah. I don't know. I just didn't even know he was sick, and they said he was in Los Angeles. I didn't know that either. I'm so sorry to hear this. Yeah, he was really ahead of his time in many ways, and just so able to break the boundaries and think outside of the box, and just really bring creativity to such a whole new level. And I'm just glad that so many people got to experience him when they did. That's very sad before his time to go and pass away like this. It's a shock.
Yeah, well, people don't realize this too. When he came up with Pee Wee's stage show, he had just gotten rejected for Saturday Night Live, and he had been rejected for so many things over the years that he really created his own work, and he really made his dream happen.
Oh, I didn't know that that all had happened. Thank you. That's really important. Well, to hell with Saturday Night Live. Look what he did without them. That's amazing.
I know.
Yeah.
He even got the host one time as Pee Wee.
That's true. That's a wonderful, wonderful reversal of fortune. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah.
So,
that poor man.
Can you believe it's been 40 years since El Norte?
No, I cannot. And it's a film that's still surprisingly, and it still is relevant. It still stands up. It's amazing to have been in it and to have witnessed the creation of it. And I do want to applaud again. Everyone always gives Greg Nava, which he is right to have the credit. It's his story, but also he co-wrote it with his wife at the time, Anna Thomas, and they had both just gotten out of UCLA film school, and I was fortunate to know their teacher at UCLA, whose name was Flora Mock. And so it was through Flora, who kept saying, gee, Loraine, it would be nice if Loraine Shields could get a line in this movie, or to have a part in this movie. And the day of the shooting, actually, it was Anna who came over to me and said, here is a script, and we haven't given this part to anyone, and I'd like you to have it. And so I'll never forget it. It was, as most things in this industry, it's friends and people helping each other. And I always shout out to all the people who have helped me, because that's just how this world works. And
right.
And Anna, of course, helped raise the money for the film, because she was the Epicurean, the gourmet epicure, the vegetarian gourmet epicure, she was the one who started kind of vegetarian cookbooks in the early 70s. And so she helped finance part of it as well as co-wrote part of it. So she was very integral and important to the process. And I'm just grateful to have been part of it. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, Anna Thomas, she directed a low-budget horror movie called The Haunting of M a few years before that.
Yes, that's right. That's correct. She did. And I don't think I can't recall if I ever saw that or not. But I would like to look that up and see what happened there.
Yeah.
She's a very, very talented woman as well. And so is Greg. They were a powerhouse couple. And Gregory Nava could walk into a room and just talk anybody into anything because he had such an enthusiasm for his subject, whatever he was speaking about, whether it was, the immigration crisis or even the Catholic Church or his Basque background because he's half Basque. And he would just go on for hours and hold court, and very knowledgeable and very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
so that's what helps get a movie made. It was lots of fun. They had a great sense of style, a great art, great eye for art and everything. And they were a lovely couple to work with. And then, of course, he went on to other films, Selena and Mia Famiglia and all that other stuff. But this was an extraordinarily special movie.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I interviewed Diane Savita, who played Alice Harper last year.
Oh.
And something really funny happened. So throughout the entire conversation, we were having technical difficulties. We were losing each other and stuff, and something weird was happening. So I asked her how she got cast in El Norte. And next thing I know, the audio cuts out on her end for 30 seconds. And when her voice comes back, she's halfway through the story already, and I interrupted her twice to start over again, and both times she could not hear me.
Oh my goodness! Well, and how did she become a part of it?
I can't remember, because I only heard half the story, but. When you hear the interview, there's only 3 seconds of that 30-second silence. I trimmed it just so people would get an idea of what happened, and then you can hear me interrupting her twice, and she doesn't hear me. And she's very proud to be associated with that movie, obviously. And
yes.
I'm so glad she didn't email me afterwards and saying that she wanted me to send the link, because that would have been so embarrassing.
Oh my, no, well, if it cut out, it cut out. It's not your fault, my goodness.
Yeah. and ironically, that was the last technical difficulty we had.
Golly, missing the meat of the matter, but it's okay. It's okay. You'll find out someday. I know you, Tommy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking about having her come back on again in the future. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, there's some interesting familiar faces in this movie. George O'Hanlon Jr., whose father was the voice of George Jetson, was in it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Larry Cedar, who I've been trying to get for years. Back then, he was playing creatures in costumes in movies before he actually got in front of the camera outside of the costume. Some great Latino actors, Tony Plana and Trinidad Silva, rest in peace, was in it. Yeah, this movie was a huge staple on PBS for years and years.
Yes, I know some people who are teachers today, and they say, you know what, I always open my class by showing El Norte. And I say, really? And they say, yes, it's a great teaching tool, and I want all my students to see it. So yeah, it's an amazing movie, and I'm so grateful to have been a part of it. And I really loved working. Anna and Greg were very inspiring. And, it was interesting. When I was handed my little moment in that script, the first thing I noticed was that, thank God, it was a plot point. So because it was just asking for a cup of coffee, really, basically. But because the young man, Enrique, was able to understand, I think that was his name, was able to understand my English. And he turned to me and said, yes, ma'am, of course, yes, madame, of course. Then the head waiter noticed that. And because the head waiter noticed that, he promoted him to the position of waiter from busboy. And then that made another worker there, co-worker, who was a busboy, jealous because he wanted the promotion. And then that other jealous busboy called La Migra, immigration. And that started out the domino of the downfall for Enrique. I think, I'm sorry if I'm saying incorrectly his name, but so it was a line that couldn't be cut. And I was so grateful because usually if you have these smaller parts in something, you think, uh-oh, this could go any way. But I was just so happy that it was such an important little moment, even though it was little, and I was so grateful for that whole thing. And I want to say that luckily there was a guy at the table, and he was an actor, and I think himself he was a film director, and I was so young, Tommy. I don't remember his name right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I said to him, wow, I've just got this moment. And he said, I'll tell you what, they're going to be bringing in the camera on your left, so why don't you look up as you blah, 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 blah. He gave me technical instructions
Mm-hmm.
that to this day saved my life. So I don't know who he was, but I'm thanking him because it just made all the difference. And it became, I knew what to do when the camera zoomed in.
I just
Yeah.
I just love that collaboration. I love hearing about that. It's so rare nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, this was another young guy. I guess he was a filmmaker. They all knew each other, maybe from UCLA, because I said they had a lot of people from the graduating from the film school were there, their friends, and so he had said, you know what I would do? He said, if the camera's panning to your left, and then you want to finish the moment and give it a button and blah blah blah, and I said, wow, and I just followed everything, and it was a flow, and that's what happens sometimes if you allow it. There's a good positive flow, and I think, I don't know, for me, since COVID and everything, it's really hard. It's a challenge to get that good positive flow, and as we started out by speaking about Paul Reubens, I mean just so many people have gone, and there's such sadness, and it's a wonderful moment to have that true channeling of positive and good people in this world. It makes all the difference in life.
Yeah, I mean, a part of me thinks, would this person die now if COVID and the way the world has been going on the last few years had happened? Who
Right.
knows? It's really hard to say.
Yeah. I think everything has changed, and I know a lot of my doctors. Because I had postponed some visits because during COVID I was just staying home all the time.
Mhm.
And when I got in to see them, they said, I hate when people postpone to, how many people are, let things get bad because thank God I wasn't one of those. But I guess a lot of people didn't go to doctors for 2 years, and it really made a difference of life or death for them. And it's sad. It's really sad.
It is.
But on another note, I'll just try to say this was a a moment in a film where it required dining. So we actually were served. They actually hired this restaurant, which is no longer there, but it was in Century City,
Hmm.
and I can't recall the name of it because it's not there. But they hired the restaurant for the day. We were filming all day, and they served actual food to us, and everybody enjoyed it naturally. But it reminded me, and I just want to tell you this story because I was so naive. I still am, Tommy.
Come on, you are not.
No, I think I'm one of the most naive persons and people in this world. But anyway, here I am. I show up on the set of Babylon 5. And it was just a small, I just want to bring this because I hadn't known this before. It was just a small role. This guy who was it was his birthday. So they had, and I can't remember the characters' names. Forgive me. I looked this up. This is off the top of my head. But it was his birthday. So they had managed to get eggs from Earth to serve him on his birthday as a big present, and it had taken like a year of channeling or whatever, light year travel or whatever. So my job was, I was the cook. I was so proud of this, and I was presenting it to him. That went fine. But one of the actresses at the table, who was part of the Starfleet Command in Babylon 5, she was a regular, she kept every take they did. She had to have a spit bucket. So I had never heard of that before, and I was so revolting to me. every time she took a bite of anything, she spit it out like a spittoon in
Oh,
a
yeah.
saloon in the Wild West. And I just hadn't seen that before. I guess a lot of actors do that on set, but I was just like, oh my God, do we have to take this again? I did my part right. I don't want to be near her anymore. I've never understood that, but I, and I get it if she didn't, whatever her deal was, but so no, it was totally different in the making of El Norte. There was, of course, because of Anna Thomas's appreciation for food, we were served something that was edible and also enjoyable, and everybody just had a great time. And there was a lot of hardship they had during the filming of that in Mexico, because there were some bandits who stole the negatives, and then they had to I think that they were met in a parking lot in the middle of the night, I think, to pay them a bribe type of thing, or a ransom for their own negatives. And then they could never go back, and they could never shoot in Guatemala because that was too dangerous. But they had been shooting in Mexico, and then even then the so-called police, whether they were real police or not, I'm not sure, really grabbed their negatives, and so it was one of those cloak and dagger moments to get the film made, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
After El Norte, you did a short called A Perfect Couple.
Yes, that was wonderful. That was working with Max Helbig as a director, and he also wrote that. And that was like a Valentine love story. And we shot that in New York City. And that was like an all-night shoot. That was another my restaurant acting scenes.
Yeah.
You could put a whole thing and it's that was a wonderful. We were up all night doing that, and I just felt so alive during the making of that. We had a wonderful cinematographer, and Max was a great director, and all the couples just were. It was so poignant, each moment. And I remember dawn coming, and it was like that old Italian film, Seduced and Abandoned.
Yeah.
Because I always think of filmmaking that way, because everything goes up like magic, Tommy. I mean, it's like 1 second there's nothing there, and the next second there's a whole house and a farm, and everybody's eating corn on the cob, and then the next second they strike it, and you have nothing there again. And it was that kind of a moment. We were in the restaurant filming, and there were all this camera crew and lights, and then, okay, we ran out of time, the time hit, and everything went back to normal. And I remember walking down the street and getting on the subway, and I think it was 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and taking the subway back to Queens, to where my parents were living, and going back home. And I just said, wow, the whole rest of the city is getting up and doing a 9-to-5 job and coming to work, and they have suits and outfits on, and I'm not part of that. I'm an actress, I said. Little did I know it wouldn't last. It comes and goes. The fortune comes and goes. But people like you, Tommy, keep it alive.
Oh, yes. I mean, I'm one of many, and this is an interesting time where so many people are bringing things out of the archives, and
yes,
that the actress who's in this movie, who's in this short, Natalia Nogaluk, or however you pronounce her last name.
Oh, yes.
She also worked with Chevy Chase. She worked with him in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh my goodness, I didn't realize that. That's great. I'm writing that down. I'll have to look for her.
Yeah, she plays Brian Doyle Murray's wife near the end, who calls the cops when he gets kidnapped by Randy Quaid near the end of the movie. And
I remember. Oh, great.
Yeah, she shows up in the mink coat, and like Beverly D'Angelo has her hand on Chevy's crotch, and she takes it off just to shake her hand and then puts it back. Brilliant.
Oh, those are brilliant. Those are brilliant movies. Oh, I love them.
Very brilliant.
Gosh. Well, yeah, go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. You did a horror short called Casting All Corpses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, was that fun to do?
Oh, I'll tell you what. There's a story behind that comes out of Susan Shearer, who is in the film with me, and she actually wrote it and produced it. Was a wonderful, wonderful friend, and we were on our way in a car to drive an hour to a very close friend of ours' memorial. Herb Mitchell, who was an actor who played, he did all the Dean Witter commercials. He played Dean Witter, and then he always played the judge in every series on TV. His name was Herb Mitchell, and he was a wonderful actor, and he died early, again, cancer, God bless him. And we were on our way to his funeral, and I told the story about how I had spoken to my agent, and I had noticed in Backstage West, there was at the time that was a paper that we used to look for and for acting advice and auditions, and both the agent and the paper said there's a new field open for actors, playing corpses, because you have CSI and you have LA Law and whatever else, and so we need a lot of actors to play corpses. So I said to Susan, this would be a great idea. Let's write this up. And, Susan did. And we took it to a friend of ours, Cameron Watson, who's a director. And he's the one who said, this could be a short film. And he said, why don't, I said, let's make it into a short film. And Susan did all the work on that. And I'm just bringing her up so much because she just recently died, and another person lost. So it's been a hardship, but no, it was born out of going to, trying to find some humor in life, because you're on the way to a funeral, which is actually what life is. So we have to find these moments of joy or finding laughter somehow to ward off the fact that we're all on our way to a funeral. And I wish it were different. But another person who passed away recently, and I do want to bring her up because it was the most embarrassing moment of my life. May I tell you?
Of course.
Okay. It was back in the 80s, and I was visiting New York City, and I had a friend who worked in the theater, and he called me one morning and he said, Loraine, I've just gotten us Orchestra Center tickets to see George Segal in Requiem for a Heavyweight. So I think it was in the 84, 85 or something. So I took the subway into the city from Long Island, and I got there, but I was past 2 p.m. matinee time. But, and the ushers are supposed to hold you, not let you be seated, especially if there's someone doing a monologue. They're only supposed to seat you when there's, a change in scenery or stuff like that,
Yeah.
So this usher, now I could smell alcohol on her breath. No comment on that. I mean, God bless her. I'm sure she was a wonderful person. But she obviously had no clue, a nice elderly woman, like myself right now. But she had no clue about this not seating people, and so I just assumed. Now I want to tell you, it was heavy winter. There was snow, so I was wearing galoshes. They don't even have them in California. These were heavy duty, like rubber, like military boots, and they buckled up. I had a heavy winter wool coat on, a muffler, a hat. And so I'm heading down the aisle following this woman, and I notice that George Segal is on the apron of the stage, and he's doing very whispering monologue. So I kind of freeze in my tracks, but she takes her little pen light flashlight and it shows me where I'm supposed to sit. So I think to myself, should I go back to the lobby or should I sit? I said, well, it's quicker to sit right now. I just want to get out of sight so I don't ruin George Segal's monologue. So I try to enter the aisle and my knees get stuck because there was a very small distance between one row and the next. So my knees get stuck on the chair in front of me, and I kind of get locked. and my ass is sticking directly in the face of the person who is seated on the aisle. And my seat is about 4 seats in. I can see my friend waving to me.
Yeah.
And I hear this voice come out at me, if you wouldn't mind. And I said to myself, oh my God, that can't be. It sounds just like Glenda Jackson. And I realized that I was stuck on Glenda Jackson. And she had known George Segal because they had done, she won the Academy Award for working with him in, what was it? I want to say the name. It just went out of my head. So they were good friends. And I'll tell you what, it was the more I tried to get off of her feet, I was on her feet, my ass was in her face, I was cooked forward. So other people in the aisle are starting to pull on me to try to get me to my seat. And it was like one of those shows where you see the body being carried over the tops of people. That's how people finally pulled me into my seat, but I still can hear her voice. For 3 times she said, if you wouldn't mind. And she had that register in her voice that would go from high to low, like in Women in Love, she kept saying, I wonder what it'd be like to fall in love. So she was saying, if you wouldn't mind. And dropping her voice, I was humiliated. I was horrified. And I just wanted to hide I didn't go out at intermission. I never said anything. And for the rest of my life, she just passed away. And to the end of the last day she was on earth, I've wanted to apologize to her. So right now, dear Miss Jackson, thank you for your brilliant work. And I apologize. I apologize for that. But anyway.
Did she just pass away this year?
Yeah, I think it was this year, or perhaps it was the end of last year. But I read it somewhere. I saw it on a scroll of the in memoriam, and I just she was just a formidable person and a wonderful actress. And then she went on to get into Parliament and everything. So I was really it was the worst moment of my life. And I'm telling you right now, I hope it cheers you up a little. Yeah. Because I know it's a sad day. It's a sad day.
It is a sad day, yeah. I'm so sorry you lost her, though. Yeah. Did you ever audition for something that became like super iconic that you're aware of?
Oh wow, that's a good question. You ask really good questions.
I try.
Yeah, no, you do. I know there's a whole stuff. Well, yeah, I've auditioned for some theater stuff that was going to be really good. I'm not sure about a film, although I'm sure I've had some misses there too. By the time I know this was a good one. There was a. But this is not a film. This was a television thing. I was up for The Practice, which was David R. Kelly David E. Kelly. He's actually a brilliant writer. But anyway, I had this was an important moment because I had just gone straight to producers, and you walk in the room when you have an audition for producers. It's just like I think there were about 20 people at that table, all in suits. So they always call it, I went in to see the suits. And that's what they mean. It's like there's 20 people dressed in these, fancy suits, and they have no expression on their face except dour, humorless faces. And I know I did a good audition, but you could tell it depends on who the husband is. Somebody said matching people up to come. And I right after me came a woman I had never seen before. Mm-hmm. And when I went to see when I watched it on television, this was either The Practice or CSI. I can't remember now. But yeah, when I saw it on television, because I was interested in who had gotten cast, it was Margot Martindale. Yeah. And I think it was her first movie or first, thing, was whatever, her first independent thing that she really got stood out for. And I said to myself, because her career has taken off so amazingly, because she's not the she's not the blonde, blue-eyed bombshell. She has a certain, down-to-earth quality that people love to cast, which is what I had wanted to do. So her career, that was one thing I regret, because she really, whatever happened after that show, I began seeing her in everything, and good for her. But I said to myself, oh darn. I would have loved to have been the next Margot Martindale, but she's had a great career, and anyway, that was fun.
I guess it worked out for the best then.
Yes, and now the one other thing what I wanted to say was when we made a Fletch. I don't know if I said this last time. There was just this wonderful party right before the filming began. And, the producer, one of the producers on that film at the time was dating or married to, and I'm sorry, I can't remember this. I'm one of those people who remembers things very well, but was Sally Field.
Yeah.
So we went to a private party in Malibu. It was kind of like the ultimate Hollywood moment, where you're at a private party on a cliff, with all the people serving you champagne and overlooking the beautiful ocean. And it was just a gorgeous day. And I remember Sally Field saying, welcome and hi, and we're happy to have you. And I just said, wow, I never want this to stop. This was like being in heaven. And I think that's what attracts me to movies, is the magic, like I said at the beginning, where they create something out of nothing. It's like a life force unto itself.
I agree.
It's the best of life can come out of that, and such happiness and such wonderful moments, and laughter, good laughter. We need it more these days than ever.
Yes, which I'm going to tell you my bawdy stories now.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was just so wild in my younger years before my car crash, I'll tell you. So after after I got out of the hospital from my car crash, 9 months later, I had to have my gallbladder taken out. And the day, okay, so they had to put a catheter in me during those couple of days that I was in the hospital. And I went in the hospital Friday, and then I left Sunday afternoon. And so they had to put a catheter in me, and I had this nurse, and there was something about him that you could tell that he was probably gay, right? And he was so cute. I mean, really, really adorable, right? And the morning of that Sunday, he took the catheter out of me, and when you put a catheter in or out, it is painful. I mean, just really painful. And so he gently took the catheter out. I mean, really gently. It didn't hurt at all. And I swear to God, Loraine, I ejaculated.
Oh my goodness! No, that's a natural response. My goodness.
Yes.
Oh, yes. But I didn't know about your what happened. Were you driving or somebody else driving?
I had a car crash in January of 2015. No, I fell asleep in the passenger seat. He fell asleep at the wheel. We ended up in the middle of the road. We got out okay. I mean, my hand was a little damaged and cut up, and I was sweating, and I barely remember it. I just remember tiny spurts of it. I blacked out from the alcohol that night.
Oh no, Tommy, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and then the car collided with ours, and the impact hit us both. I had the worst of the injuries. I was in a coma for 30 days.
Oh my gosh! Oh dear, I'm so sorry you went through all that, but you've come out and you've done such great stuff with your life.
It was the best thing that ever happened to me. I have regrets like a lot of people do, but I don't regret the way it worked out, because it's just been one gift after another.
You sound like you totally reinvented and reincarnated yourself, and that you have a resurrection. This is besides the erection, you had a resurrection.
Yeah. I love that. That is so awesome.
We had to get a laugh in here, Tommy.
Yeah. Oh, here's another one. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So after my girlfriend broke up with me when I was 25, I fell into the swinger lifestyle for a while, and
Yes.
there was a couple that hosted karaoke, and they were into cuckolding, and um, I would have sex with the wife when the husband watched, and
Wow.
that was our ritual. He was my age, and she was 10 or 12 years older than we were, right? And this,
Yeah.
this one night, we were going to do something just totally outlandish, just for the fun of it. So they hosted karaoke at this steakhouse that had kind of a party room, and there was a hallway area that led to a couple of bathrooms, and there was a table there in the hallway, and this place never got like a ton of crowds on karaoke night, which I could never understand why, because it was always a lot of fun when you went there.
Right.
So one night, when the place was somewhat busy but not completely busy, her and I, we went into that hallway area to have a quickie on the table, while karaoke was happening, right?
You know what, Tommy? I think I figured out why it wasn't too crowded on that night.
No, I think it was just pure dumb luck, is what it was.
Oh.
So while that's going on, he's hosting the show and singing. Guess what song he was singing?
Gee. Wow. Tell me. I'm sorry. I can think of all I can think of is Tony Bennett right now, and I don't want to ruin that. Tony Bennett. So tell me who it was.
No. That's what friends are for.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah, I was wild. I'm not perfect. I was wild.
Oh, sounds well. As long as you satisfied that part of your life now, and you've moved on, it sounds like. Oh, yeah. I can just see someone walk in and then say, "I'll have whatever they're having."
Yeah. Like when Harry met Sally. Yeah.
Yes.
It was fun. It was fun.
Oh,
Yeah, I've got a million of those stories, and I have a memoir that I've been working on and off the last couple of years, and
really?
yeah, and I have a whole separate book of erotica I want to write with stories like that.
That's great. Oh God, go ahead with it, because you make your own dreams come true, Tommy. That's what you've done.
Yes, I just turned 40 last month, and I've been having a midlife crisis since I turned 35. But it's even more so now, especially now that we're losing a lot more people, and
Yeah.
mortality is setting in. And I just lost my uncle a few months ago. It's just
Oh yes.
I want to get everything done because I don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, Tommy, I hope, you know what, for me too, right now it's a really time where three of my friends, I mean, are literally in hospice,
Hmm.
and this is like too early, too soon, and I feel it's so unfair, and I just hate it all happening now, and there's just so much unsettled. I feel like the whole world is off its axis, and I think one of the most when I was little, I'd go to the movies to escape. And I'd go to the movies to be thrilled and to just find just the wonders of the world. And I think we all did. We all went into that movie theater and we just came out and we just felt more alive. And I remember one of the films that I loved were, of course I love Fellini and I love Bergman, and my mother took me to all the biblical movies.
Yeah.
but what I also loved was, I remember seeing my first James Bond movie, and it was like, I don't know, I just came out of that movie and I was just like hopping and skipping, and I wanted to be a secret agent, and I wanted to do this and that, and I loved all the cars and all the excitement of the film. And so a couple of years ago now, or a year and a half, whenever it was, one of my closest friends was dying. And I said to myself, and it was still, COVID stuff and everything, but I said to myself, you know what, there's a new James Bond movie out, and I'm going to go see that because I'm so depressed because my closest friend, Robert, is dying, and I just can't take it anymore. Let me just go get a jolt of Bond.
Yeah.
And I went to see the latest James Bond movie, Live or Die, whatever it was.
I saw it,
I can't remember. And at the end, James Bond dies.
Yep.
And I said to myself, oh, what? Are they insane? I came here to try to give me some hope or some uplift or, feel a little better. And when I got home, I picked up the phone, and my friend had been taken to the hospital, and I never spoke to him again. And I was so angry that Hollywood has lost its way. And they don't know that James Bond does not die at the end of the film. He's not Jesus. God bless him. I mean, I believe in biblical movies, and I watch them, and I love them, but not James Bond. He doesn't have to die to save the world. He gets to keep the girl,
Yeah. Oh,
don't
worry.
I was just like, I haven't been to another movie since. I mean,
well, don't worry. He's coming back. He always does.
I guess so. I hope so, Tommy. Oh, from your lips to God's ears.
I've been lucky. I've talked to a couple of people who have been in James Bond movies, and it's a franchise that just won't go away. People love it,
Yeah, a very close friend of mine was in the one License to Kill, I think, with what was
Timothy
his
Dalton.
name? Yes, and she played Fritz's. Her name is Priscilla Barnes, and she played. Was his Felix's wife, and she gets killed in it. So that's the only Bond girl. Oh, and then I knew. She was in Moonraker.
Lois
Was a
Child.
beautiful. Yes, I knew her. She's was a lovely person. She's moved, so I don't see her anymore. She was a great human being, and so those are the only two I've known. But I know. It's just a big deal, James Bond movies. And I'm so grateful we still have them, and I hope that we have more where he gets to live and save the world but not die himself.
Yeah. The woman who rides the motorcycle in Thunderball is still alive. She's in her late 80s. I'm going to reach out to her because I found out she's going to be at the Hollywood show in the fall, so...
Oh, great. Oh, you do so. Now, how do you do all this magnificent research, Tommy? I mean, it's brilliant what you do.
Well, I'm a true fan of everybody I talk to, in every movie that they talk about, And so, I keep up to date with the autograph shows and the conventions that are going on to see people who I thought, were either dead or just disappeared off the face of the earth. And I find out that they're still out there, It's just all by sheer luck is what it is.
Oh, it's really great what you do. I'm so honored. I'm so honored that we've connected. Yeah. I'm so honored to speak to you. And I just think we need to have a lot of good, wonderful, funny stories and good humor and really care about each other during these times. And what I love about the acting community is that it is a community. People do really care about each other and help each other with their work. And you're a person who really keeps people alive, and you should be kept going and applauded in the same way, because without you, a lot of people would be forgotten or things wouldn't be remembered correctly. And so you're a reporter and also a preserver. You're like a natural preservation agency for hearing the voices of people who have really good stories and times of films that were made, and you keep them going, and you keep the memories of those films going. So you're doing a great job, and I'm really grateful to you. Very, very grateful. It brings up wonderful, wonderful memories for me, and I remember, as I said, going to movies when I was little, and it just changed my life. And the movie theaters themselves were spectacular, as you know, in the old days. And it's funny, when I went to see my first Broadway show, it didn't hit me as magic as movies, because I was so used to that hushed theater where the lights go out and you see the flickering screen, almost like a multitude of humanity watching a flickering flame, and it kind of mesmerized us all in the movie theaters, And in Broadway, there's lights and people shouting, and it didn't grab me as much until later on. And I saw some really exemplary people like Angela Lansbury doing Sweeney Todd. Oh my God. And Dorothy Loden doing Noises Off. I laughed so much at that, I almost fainted in the aisle. I mean, and then I got to do Noises Off myself and play her role, but I could never play it the way she did. She was brilliant. And Angela Lansbury, I mean, these were people unforgettable, and I'm so grateful to have witnessed their performances too. And that's theater, not film, but
right.
They were brilliant. Yeah.
I'm definitely a preserver. I don't really consider myself a reporter. I mean, I no doubt have uncovered things that a reporter would, but first and foremost, I'm a historian and a movie buff,
Yes, you are. I know that. And what are your favorite films? So what is stuff that you could never, like, you could always watch, and stuff that really brings you back?
Like, I'm an 80s kid, right? So I love movies that I saw in my childhood, like Back to the Future, Night of the Comet, The Breakfast Club, Ghostbusters. But then I love, like, really classic movies like The Big Sleep and The Philadelphia Story and The Searchers. I love movies, all the Charlie Chaplin stuff,
Yes. Those are great films. Those are films for the ages. They really are.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. The 80s was great.
Yeah, you know what's funny? When the Academy Awards happened this year, there was an advertisement for 100 years of Warner Brothers, right? And they were showing in this preview clips of MGM movies that the studio owns now, and so many people, myself included, were pissed that MGM movies were being shown on the Warner Brothers 100th anniversary, commercial.
Oh, that's sad. Yeah, that's so sad.
Yeah, because we have
MGM.
We have integrity.
Well, yeah, MGM. I remember going there when I first arrived, and Charles Bronson was shooting the film Telephone.
Yeah.
Which was I was on the lot as a guest of someone, and they were there, to visit them at the studio.
Yeah.
And I was walking along, and there's all this styrofoam on under my foot, and I see and there's they said there was a red light flashing on a studio. I said, well, what's happening? And they said, well, Charles Bronson just finished shooting a snow scene here. You're stepping on the snow. I said, that's snow? It was styrofoam. So I just, those kind of memories, though, those are the best, because as a kid growing up, you don't know that snow is styrofoam. You think snow is snow. And I was so excited, Charles Bronson and
Time Daily.
Those were when stars was stars. They were really big. We have them today too, but it wasn't like those days. And I always love seeing behind the scenes and see how movies are made, and then also being brought out again into the audience to be thrilled by the magic, and never knowing for a second, you're forgetting how it's made. Because to me, every time I see snow, and hopefully a lot of it is real, it is never styrofoam. It's always snow.
Right. So how's your eye and how's your health doing?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. My eyes have kind of gotten okay now. I had to have all that, cataract stuff, and one eye and then the next eye, but things are holding their own, and so I'm very grateful. And I still, make my prayers, and I'm still extremely grateful for the team that helped me. Just though that I don't have any eye problems right now, and I'm just hope that I hope that lasts.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to happen, and health is everything. If you don't have health, then that's just the whole thing these days. Is so many people I know don't have their health, and I spend most of my free time just visiting people who are really struggling with their last days, and anything you can do to make someone laugh or to bring kindness their way is the only way to live, really, period. And
Yes.
so yeah, thank you for asking. I'm okay with my eyes, and I hope that lasts, and I hope that nothing else falls apart too soon.
I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes last April of last year,
Oh
and
my.
so far I've lost like 45 pounds or something. I gotta keep
Oh,
going, and it's been hard. It's also been easy at the same time. You know, I just gotta get my A1C levels just right where they need to be, and I'll be good.
yes. Are you on? You must be on a special diet and stuff like that, and you've
Yeah.
had to change your life. That's my mother or other people I know have had that, and they have to keep checking everything they're eating as an exchange for something else, and you can do this or you can't do that, and but it's a way of life, and you'll live if you a good life if you can do that. And I'm sending you all the positive energy and all the prayers in the world, Tommy,
Oh,
because I
thank
want
you,
you to have a good long life. You deserve it.
thank you,
You really
thank you.
deserve. You've been through enough. Enough is enough, and now you deserve to enjoy life. And
Amen to that.
yeah,
So let's
yeah.
let's play my secret silly game. I wanted to play this with you last time, but you were so anxious. I mean, you were just like nervous, but now you're a lot more confident.
Thank you, Tommy. You've given me that confidence. So that's why I have
Thank
it,
you.
see?
So this is a series of silly slumber party questions. No win or lose. It's just pure fun. And how the game works is I ask you the question, you answer it, then you ask me that exact same question, and I answer it. And feel free to comment on answers because they might be funny.
Okay.
Loraine, are you ticklish?
Yes. Tommy, are you ticklish?
Oh yes, I love being tickled, but if you tickle me without warning, I might hit you in the groin.
Yes, no, I'm very ticklish. In fact, I sometimes get angry when I'm being tickled too much because I can't stand it.
Yeah. Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
Innie. It's an innie. I have checked it many times. And how about you, Tommy? What is yours?
It is an innie, and I've checked it many times as well.
Okay. So far, we're doing great. What's the next one? Hit me. Hit me.
What color are your toenails painted?
Oh, I always keep them natural. I like just a natural. I don't like pink. I don't like colors. I don't like colors. So they're always a natural, like a clear. If I have any polish, it's a clear one. I like to see my own toes for what they are. How about you, Tommy? What kind of polish do you wear, or what color are your toenails?
Yeah, I like to go elaborate and bright colors. So right now I got lavender purple. It's really cute.
Are you kidding me? Oh, that's
Nope.
great.
I've been painting my toenails since I was 13.
Wow, that's fabulous. Oh, I wish I had done that. I may have been used to it now. No, well, that's great.
Yeah.
Did you change the color according to your mood?
Not per se. I mean, it's just whatever color that I happen to have or I find, I just want to use,
I I had a friend whose mother changed the color of their front door according to her mood. So my friend would come home, and if it was an orange door, she knew things were great. If it was a black door, she'd hide and stay at her friend's house. So your purple toes sound great.
Yes. What would you say?
Lavender.
What would you say is your best personality trait?
Oh, whew, all I can think of the worst ones. The best ones. Maybe trying to find some humor. Trying to find some humor in life, and then when you can, try to make someone else laugh, and then you'll laugh harder yourself. If you just go with the status quo and just get too mired down, you'll sink and die. So it's best to try to reach out and try to cause laughter in the universe, and you'll find yourself laughing harder. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
For me,
Yes.
I have empathy, and I also have no filter.
I love the empathy and the no filter. That's a
Yes.
brilliant combination, Tommy. That's great. How did you figure that one out? That's true.
I'm a
I mean, I
Gem-
can tell that about you.
I'm a Gemini. You know, I mean, I got two
Oh,
personalities.
wow. That's great. Empathy and no filter. I
Yeah,
might borrow that next time somebody asks me.
you should.
Oh,
If you're not a
and
Gemini, though, they might think you're a sociopath.
yes. No, I'm not a Gemini. I'm a Virgo, so I'll try to. I better not borrow that. I'll stay with what I am.
Oh, for your birthday, I'll send you a video of me wiggling my toes.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I can't wait. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, Tommy,
Um,
listen. Yeah, go ahead.
if you could have anything named after you, what would it be?
Uh, oh, something. Oh, something that's related to joy or happiness or laughter. And I couldn't think of what concretely that would be. But it could be, I don't know. I'm sorry. Maybe either a star in the universe, or a theater, or something that people associate with laughter or joy. Maybe just a wave of the ocean. I don't know, but that's a good one to think about. And how about you? How would you like something to be named after you or remembered by?
I definitely would like a vibrator named after me.
Oh, golly, you got me. You got me. I couldn't have thought of that.
How's this sound? The Tommy Chatsy.
You're great. That's hysterical.
And then my favorite question, is there a stinky smell that just makes you gag?
Oh gosh, yes. I guess. Yes. If they've vomited or something like that, keeping or yeah, something to do with bathroom smells. That really makes me sick.
Yeah.
But I mean, I myself. But I mean, just in general, I try to avoid that. But how about you, Tommy? What is a stinky smell that you just can't stand?
Either farts or feet.
Oh, well, I can't. I think that's a pretty good too. I would agree with you on those. Yeah.
Absolutely. Real quick, I have a couple jokes for you.
Yes.
How can you tell if a turtle is nearsighted?
Turtle is nearsighted. Tell me. I can't guess.
He tries to fuck an army helmet.
How did you find that one?
Did
you make that one?
I think I heard somebody, or I found it on a joke site. I can't remember.
I love it. What's the next one?
What did the blonde say after giving a blowjob?
Oh, Tommy, I can't. I don't know. What?
Way to go, team!
Oh, God, Tommy. That's terrible. I'm not going to laugh.
I love cheerleaders.
Oh, Tommy. Okay.
Loraine, you are a national treasure. Thanks so much for coming back on today, and helping me end the last day of July summer. I hope you have a great rest of your summer, and be safe.
Thanks,
out
Tommy.
there.
And I'll just give another shout out to thinking about you, caring about you, a wonderful job you do. Thank you for preserving us and the films. And also a shout out to the memory of Paul Reubens. I'm so terribly sorry. And we need more joy in the world, and he was that for so many. And so let's try to keep that alive and try to find joy with whatever we can, because it's absolutely necessary these days. And thank you, Tommy.
Yes, I wish I could give you a great big hug right now. And
I'm giving you one. Oh, there you got it. Okay.
You have a great rest of your day, and again, be safe.
You too, Tommy. Be safe, and I believe in you. You stick on that type 2, you fight that, and I'm fighting for you and praying for you. You're an extremely important and special person.
Thank you so much.
Tommy.
I'm writing
Thank
this
you.
bad boy out.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it. Loraine Shields. I mean, need I say more? She is just an awesome, awesome human being, and I'm so glad we got to talk again today. And I just love hearing her laugh. She is just so hilarious and just a wonderful person. Great audience. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes. Rest in peace, Pee-wee. I know you are, but what am I?